Hello and welcome to the Her Wellbeing Masterclass from Restrictive to Balanced, a sustainable eating approach for busy women. Today we're going to talk about how to revive your metabolism, have steady energy, and get deeper sleep. And I'm so excited for this masterclass because this is something that we all want. And we are here to thrive within this tribe. So let's go ahead and get started. I just want to remind you that the information shared in this masterclass and future masterclasses and protocols shared within here are for educational purposes only. This does not replace the advice of your doctor or anything that you're currently doing under their care, but we are here to rock it and empower you with the education to make the proper changes that your body is calling for. So, what are we going to do today? We are going to debunk restrictive diets and eating because we don't do that here. We want to understand metabolism and weight and how this all works, right? So we can figure it out for ourselves and get off of Google. We're going to talk about the components of a balanced meal. We'll talk about this a lot within the tribe. And we're going to talk about how stress is affecting your metabolism and what to do about that. We're going to talk about common hormone imbalances affecting your metabolism. Can't wait to dive into that, as well as how blood work can actually identify your root causes of any metabolism issues. And we're also going to talk about how to revive your metabolism, energy, and sleep, right? Because that's what you're all are here for. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about something near and dear to us, our health and our weight. We've all been there, bombarded with fad diets, promising quick fixes, but the truth is restrictive diets are a recipe for disaster, and not just for your waistline, but for your overall well-being. And if you've worked with me as a client inside of my foundations program, or if you've done the 28-day reset, we talk about the difference between elimination and restriction. And so there's a major difference between there. And the key is we want to empower eating more variety of food and really just make sure that we're nourishing our bodies with the proper nutrition, decreasing inflammation. That's the overall goal. So let's talk about, though, the unsustainable trap of restriction, because restrictive diets that are out there, some of them can be therapeutic, right? But they can also create just an unhealthy relationship with food and really just create so much stress around eating. And that is not what we want. They can demonize your entire food groups that we need. Like, we need carbs, we need healthy fats, we need fiber, we need those things, and protein. And so whenever that happens, though, we can definitely feel deprived, and it sets us up for more cravings and more binge eating and just more confusion. And honestly, what I see is not eating enough. So this yo-yo dieting can just really take a toll on your metabolism, and it makes it harder to lose weight, have sustainable energy, get good sleep, have good moods, right? And that's what we're here for. That's what we're aiming for inside of this community. And so I can't wait to talk more too about balancing plates, because instead of restriction, that's what we focus on. The reason it's important to have your foundations in place, and if you haven't taken this class, then it's definitely one to check out. This is when people go on detoxes and cleanses to lose weight, and they don't understand that fat holds on to toxins. And when you start to mobilize toxins, they need somewhere to go, which is why it's important to have the foundations of good elimination and bowel movements and hydration to move those toxins through so they don't recirculate through the bloodstream and cause more inflammation. And one of those foundations is balancing your plate, and we are going to talk about that today. And so just to give you a quick snapshot, healthy fats, thinking avocados, olive oil, those things keeping us full, supporting hormone production, full brain function, fiber, protein. We're going to get into those things because these affect our hormones, and these nutrients that we need, they are like a symphony conductor for our hormones. So that's why we're balancing meals, keeping our blood sugar steady, preventing energy crashes and irritability. And these nutrients, they also support healthy estrogen and progesterone levels, which can significantly impact mood, sleep, and even your risk of certain health conditions. So this is why we don't diet. This is why we eat balanced, because dieting is just not sustainable. Restrictive diets can wreak havoc on your hormones by depriving yourself of calories, vital nutrients. You stress your body. This leads to increased cortisol, the stress hormone. We'll talk about that today. And this can cause weight gain, anxiety, and trouble sleeping. Plus, messing with your estrogen and progesterone can worsen PMS symptoms negatively, and that is not what we want. And this can just impact your mood and overall being. So we're going to think of food as our source of fuel and as medicine, because when we nourish properly, we'll have the energy to tackle the day, focus to conquer challenges, and we'll have the resilience to bounce back from setbacks. And because, right, life is not perfect. There's going to be challenges of things that pop up in life. And if we have foundations set in place, if we know how to balance our plates, if we know how to manage our stress, then we can bounce back quicker. You'll sleep better, you'll feel more balanced, you'll radiate inside out with confidence. And that's what we really want. So just remember that fad diets are a fleeting fix, but building healthy habits empower you for life. We have that free hormone habit challenge within the community that you can get started with. So let's ditch these restrictions, embrace balanced plates, and then we're going to unlock this amazing world of vibrant health and just become unstoppable. So I want to talk about metabolism, and I want to do this in a way that doesn't feel so sciencey, but I do want to go a little bit deeper than what you've probably heard. And I want to give you just a good way to understand how your body works so you can meet it where it's at and really help your hormones be in harmony more. So imagine your body as a bustling city, right? And your metabolism is the power plant. Every cell in your body is a busy resident, just constantly working and needing energy to function. This energy comes from the food you eat, which your metabolism breaks down into fuel, like turning lumber into electricity. So, the more efficient your power plant is, the better it can convert that fuel into usable energy for your cells. This means your body has the power it needs to do everything from powering your workouts to keeping your brain sharp. And a well-oiled metabolism extracts the energy, the max energy from food, while a sluggish one might leave some unused fuel. We don't want that behind. So a healthy metabolism is really like a well-maintained power plant, keeping your city of cells running smoothly. And this energy keeps all the functions of your body, aka your city, going, from thinking clearly, like powering traffic lights, and burning fat, taking out the trash, and building strong muscle, which is like constructing new buildings. So looking at your body as a city and a power plant and the components that it needs, that's really how your metabolism works. So let's break this down a little bit more now that we have a great analogy to kind of focus on. So when we talk about food as fuel here, we're looking at trucks bringing food into the city. That's your digestive system breaking down what you eat, okay? And so it's really important that our digestive process, which is part of the foundations, is efficient, because these digested bits become the fuel for the cellular power plants, which are also the mitochondria, the powerhouses of our cell. So then when we do that, we look here at chemical energy. That's what our food breaks down into. Think of these power plants using the fuel to generate electricity in your body. And those mitochondria, the powerhouses, they use the broken down food to create a special energy called ATP. Okay? ATP is the city's electricity, powering everything from muscle movement, like running subways, to brain activity, like keeping the lights on in the city center. And now we have burning waste, right? So now that we've gotten our chemical energy in with our foods, we've broken it down, we've got to get rid of the things that our body doesn't need. And just like a power plant that creates smoke and ash, your cellular power plants also have waste products. These get transported by the body's waste disposal trucks, your circulatory system, our lymph system, and eliminated through sweat, urine, and other means. This is why movement is so important. This is why sweat, peeing, and pooping, those basic foundations are so, so important. And now that we've gotten rid of what we don't need, we can now focus on generating heat, right? So we might be in different stages. Some of us might experience hot flashes, these cold flashes. It really just depends on where you're at in your cycle, where you're at, if you're peri or postmenopausal or menopausal. So all of this can vary, but this happens in a cycle. So just remember that hot air rising from the city on a summer day. It is super hot in June in Florida right now. Summer is really kicking off strong. Your body, though, the same way creates heat as a byproduct of all this energy production. And this is what helps keep our temperature regulated within our body. So it keeps us warm when we're cold outside. So if this is off for you, that will show up on your labs. It will show up in your body's symptoms, just always being cold or frequently cold. We're supposed to be warm. We're supposed to be generating heat. That is how we are meant to technically operate. So when we look at the functions of our metabolism, we're breaking down nutrients for energy, we're storing it, and then we're using that to help regulate our hormones, sending the signals, right? So when our hormones are off balance, that's when the signals are off balance. That's when we get those symptoms. That's when we get PMS symptoms. That's when we get thyroid symptoms. That's when we get fatigue, moodiness, all of the things that are associated with the cell signaling of our hormones. That's just telling us that something's off, and our metabolism plays a big role in that. Our metabolism also plays a role in our immune response, our stress response, right? Because if we're not getting what we need or properly breaking down the nutrients that we need, we can't fuel our bodies to fight off all of the good stuff that's out here in the world today. And we have trouble with detoxifying and excreting metabolic waste products, right? And so that starts to get stored in fat. It's really, really important for our cell and tissue repair and production for our metabolism to be running efficiently. So I'm super glad that we're here today, because we are going to talk about how to fix that, because a healthy metabolism is really like a healthy and efficient city. It converts fuel cleanly into energy, it manages waste effectively, and it even keeps us warm. So how do we even know, right, if we have metabolism issues? So we're going to talk about these signs. 10 signs of a possible slow metabolism that start to look like hormone symptoms, right? Because once we get that food in and we're not breaking it down properly, or where our cells aren't getting the fuel that they need, our cell signaling and neurotransmitters can't work efficiently, which means our hormones can't work efficiently. Unexplained weight gain. This is a common sign of a slow metabolism. Even with a healthy diet and exercise routine, you may find it difficult to lose weight, or you may even experience unexplained weight gain. And with that said, when we have that sluggish metabolism, it's going to affect our energy. So we're going to feel fatigued. We're going to feel like we have low energy, because it makes it difficult when your body has a slow metabolism for your body to convert food into energy, leaving you feeling tired and sluggish throughout the day. If you're always feeling cold, people with a slow metabolism often experience chronic coldness because their bodies don't generate enough heat to maintain a normal body temperature. And this is often always a sign too of this thyroid dysfunction. But I will tell you this, thyroid dysfunction shows up last on labs. It's these steps that come before and the foundations that need to be placed, like digestion, absorbing our nutrients, having a healthy metabolism, that are affected. And then the thyroid's like, well, I can't operate properly because I'm not getting the cellular energy that I need. So that also stems from digestive issues. Having a slow digestion and constipation are big signs of a sluggish metabolism. That can also be affected by stress and routine, right? So it's really important for our bowels to move. And this is because our body isn't efficiently breaking down and eliminating waste products. Dry skin and hair, brittle nails, dry hair, dry skin, they can all be a sign that we're not getting the nutrients that we need because of a slow metabolism. As well as sugar cravings. A slow metabolism can really lead to cravings for sugary or processed foods, because your body is looking for a quick source of energy. So if our liver is sluggish, not able to release the glucose that we need and the storage that we need in order to get through, power through our day, if we're so stressed and our adrenals are just out of whack, then the body starts to pull from areas that it needs to in order to survive. So we want to get out of that survival state, right? We want to get into the thrive state. So that's what we're trying to do in this community. And that is why we want to listen to our body and listen to the signs and not accept your labs are normal when we don't feel that way. These symptoms are not normal. They are just red flags and check engine lights to tell you that, hey, we need to switch something up. One of the biggest signs that I hear is trouble sleeping. Um, when we have a slow metabolism, we may have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep due to hormone imbalances or sluggish digestion. We'll talk about protein and how this can be helpful, but also thinning hair, slower hair growth or hair loss can be a sign of a slow metabolism. It can also happen with infections, right? So our body's not fighting things off the way that it needs to because we're not able to effectively deliver nutrients into our hair follicles. Skipping periods, big one that happens way too often that I see in women. Obviously, irregular periods or skip periods can be caused by hormonal imbalances that can be linked to metabolism. So metabolism is much more important than we're told, right? Metabolism plays a huge role in how our body really efficiently breaks down the food and energy that we need and how it nourishes our cells so we can literally function on a daily basis. And this is the stuff that starts to break down when our metabolism is off. Also, muscle loss, which isn't talked about a lot. I know that it's important to lift weights, right? To add weights in. A lot of people like to walk, but it's important to balance those out based upon where you're at with your cycle. But a slow metabolism can really lead to a decrease in muscle mass over time because our body is burning fewer calories and breaking down muscle tissue for energy. So the body will always try to compensate. And it's really time for us to figure out how to balance it out so we can rev it up, right? Because that's the ultimate goal. We want to understand now the importance of protein, fiber, and healthy fats in a balanced diet and how this is essential for busy women looking to adopt a sustainable eating approach and something that's just not a fad and that we can maintain. And so one of the biggest things you'll hear, obviously balancing plates, but protein is a crucial macronutrient that helps build and repair tissues while also keeping you full and satisfied. So there's multiple ways to get protein in. Ensuring an adequate intake of fiber itself is also important for digestive health, weight management, and reducing the risk of chronic disease, right? Because we don't want that excess estrogen floating around. We need that fiber to pick it up and carry it out. We do not want estrogen dominance in our lives. Healthy fats, such as those found in avocados and nuts, these are essential for brain function and hormone production, overall well-being. It really is that simple. So incorporating this variety can be really, really helpful of these macronutrients like lean meats, poultry, fish, plant-based options. These can help us reach our daily protein needs. Fiber-rich foods such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. This is how we balance it out and rev it up. These should be included in every meal to help support digestion. And when we don't include it in one meal, let's hit it in the next. So healthy fats like those found in olive oil, coconut oil, fatty fish, these can be incorporated into cooking and salads. Super simple to really enhance flavor and provide nutritional value because we don't count calories. So we count nutrients. And that is how we balance it out to rev it up to keep our metabolism going. And balancing these macronutrients in each meal can really help us as busy women feel energized, nourished, and content throughout the day, right? So let me tell you what this looks like though on the real. It really looks like a roller coaster because when we're not balancing out our meals, we're not balanced either. What happens is we eat whatever we eat. We get this initial surge, which really helps us feel good, right? We eat at breakfast that bagel and our serotonin, our endorphins, our blood sugar, they love that bagel. They love the donuts. Our energy rises. We feel good until around 10 o'clock. And we start to see that crash, right? So we're like, oh, snap. Do I grab another donut? Do I grab that protein shake that I think I saw on TV that has loaded sugars, like secret sugars and unnecessary ingredients just to get me through? This is the roller coaster that we go on, and we continue this. And then as our blood sugar starts to drop, we start to feel these signs. And it's so important to know the relationship between blood sugar and cortisol stress hormone and how it affects our metabolism. Because once we crash, cortisol starts to spike and because it wants to create balance or homeostasis within the body. Because remember, that is the body's ultimate goal. It wants us to feel safe. So it will start pulling from other factors in order to do that. And so although we may feel anxiety and cray sometimes, that's not what our body really wants for us. So it sends these signs as a check engine light. And these are ones that are less talked about. We know you can get moody. We know we can get anxiety. We know we can get hangry, right? But let's talk about chronic signs of just poorly balanced blood sugar, poorly balanced diet, poor stress management, temporary vision loss, very scary, dizzy, shaky, lightheaded, anxious, palpitations, panic attacks. That's something I see huge with blood sugar spikes and dips. Nausea and sweats, PMS, PCOS, and hormone issues. Eating a snack or a bar to carry along that's not protein rich but full of sugar. Energy crashes between 2 and 3 p.m. So you need caffeine, or right after lunch, you need caffeine, needing alcohol to unwind, difficulty concentrating, memory loss issues, easily gaining weight, poor sleep and waking up, acne and skin issues, binges, headaches. These are what we're not talking about out here in the streets, about how blood sugar is so important and how our cortisol and our metabolism play a huge role in keeping us feeling sane. And that is the talk that we need to have. And that's what's really important. And it really all starts with balancing your plates: protein, fat, fiber, healthy carb. That's it. Carbs aren't bad, fats aren't bad, fiber is necessary for hormone balance, protein is necessary to keep you going throughout the day. We are complicating this with diets. Women are so confused if they should be on keto because their friends on keto. Do I go Mediterranean or do I go paleo? There's so much confusion out there. Eat good quality, nutrient dense foods and don't overthink this. Continuing with the analogy that our bodies are like being busy cities and providing it with the proper fuel through fat, fiber, and protein, we're going to highlight one of the macronutrients that can play a big role in burning fat. So one of the major things that are talked about right now is GLP-1. Everybody's talking about, semaglutide and all those things. And now we're also seeing some of the side effects of those things. But I'm here to break the science down to you so you can understand that you don't want the quick fix. It could be good for some people who are just having a really, really hard time getting a handle on it. But with consistency, with coaching, with masterclasses like this, with guidance, with a community, you can hit your goals. You just have to be focused and have the support. And the macronutrient that I'm about to blow your mind with is protein. And I'm going to tell you how protein intake is similar to GLP-1 treatments. So, protein breakdown. When you eat protein, your body breaks it down into smaller building blocks called amino acids. Think of them as bricks for your city's buildings. Here's a GLP-1 boost. During digestion, these amino acids trigger the release of a gut hormone called GLP-1. Here we go. Imagine GLP-1 as a city messenger, letting everyone know that there are plenty of bricks available. Like, hey, bricks are here, come get it. Now let's get into the energy efficiency and full filling, right? GLP-1, like some medication, works in two ways, right? It tells us the power plant cells or the cells to use fuel, which is our glucose, more efficiently, keeping your energy levels stable, right? So secondly, it sends a signal to the brain saying, city's well stocked on bricks, making you feel fuller and reducing overeating. So adequate protein intake, y'all, and digestion naturally activate GLP-1. Most of us don't need a shot for this. We just got to slash the inflammation, improve our digestion, balance our plates, and up our protein so our body can get back on track and our cells can utilize what they need for a healthy metabolism. Seeing that adequate protein intake and digestion naturally activate GLP-1, mimicking some of the benefits of this peptide therapy stuff that's going around in GLP-1 medications. A good balanced meal with high protein for dinner will help you balance out your blood sugar throughout the night, and this leads to even better sleep. Sleep is the process that we all need to restore with our reset button after a long day. That's when our liver goes to work over the 500 plus functions that it has, whether it needs to break down estrogen, get it out. 80% of the thyroid hormone is metabolized in the liver. It has so many things to do. So we need to give it what it needs and stop relying on sugar and blaming salt and really balancing out what we need to give our body the ability to heal, because it absolutely can. And so when we do this and we pair it with getting to the root by testing, nourishing, that's when we thrive. Learn the foundations that we're talking about. Take that masterclass, utilize your body's data, and get personalized steps. So, because blood work is my thing, of course, I'm going to talk about this, right? Because these are markers that are super important, and I run this inside the Her Foundations program. Often we're missing the nutrients the body needs for fuel, and this is where blood work can point out specifically what we need in order to help with cravings and so many other symptoms, because what this does is it fast tracks you. We can eat a balanced plate until the end of the world, right? We're doing all the things, we're eating all the right foods. Stress may not still be managed, but some of these markers, when they're off, they take high priority. So we want to focus on those. And then once we get those intact, once we focus on the systems that need to be intact, once we focus on the body as a whole, then we can start to see the shift and start to accelerate that process of metabolism picking back up and doing what it needs to do. So eating a balanced diet can help with this. Sometimes we just have to dig a little bit deeper to understand the red flags, and that's what we do with blood work. I often see low vitamin D, low red blood cells, low cholesterol, because we need cholesterol to make hormones. So that is one of those things that is so misunderstood. So if you ever run a blood work panel with me, I will definitely debunk all the cholesterol myths and beliefs, because it is so misunderstood. And elevated thyroid antibodies due to long haul symptoms, due to chronic stress or major stressful event is so common. The body holds on to things. The Body Keeps the Score is an amazing book. The body holds on to trauma, stress. Our nervous system figures out a way to regulate it, compartmentalize it, but it always resurfaces. And if it's chronic over time and we add some stress on top of that and a bad diet, or just stress around even eating a good diet in general, it becomes these symptoms that we see: unbalanced blood sugar and high cortisol levels. And let's not even mention low cortisol, because that's the thing too, because once we hit burnout, things become low, like cortisol, and that's a whole nother issue, which is why testing is super important. And cortisol is best tested via saliva. So I don't typically test cortisol within the blood, because it's best measured saliva over a period of time, or via urine. So that's also important. And that's why it's important to be a part of a community that's functional, that's holistic, because then you're not running unnecessary tests and you're understanding your body in a different way. And so with that said, I also see low or elevated liver enzymes in the metabolic panel, which is really important to note. GGT is a marker that's not run often, but it lets me know what the heck is going on with your gallbladder and your liver. We combine all this information with a thorough assessment and we get to work. We want to see how your insulin's doing, how your A1C is doing. We want to know those things so we understand where to start. Let's slash this process in half. Let's reboot your metabolism, knowing the specific to your body. But you can always start with the foundations. You want to clear stuff out and then boost and then optimize. So let's talk about 3 steps to rev up metabolism as a just quick takeaway for this entire masterclass, because we want to utilize the tools that we discussed and create an environment for a better metabolism with an M on the end. So we want to talk about digestion, proteins, enzymes, movement, those type of things. And then you'll see that I'm also going to have a calm the cortisol protocol for you within the community. So this is your 3-step plan. Super simple, right? We want to calm cortisol. We want to manage stress to keep cortisol and blood sugar balanced. And I want to talk a little bit more about how stress affects our metabolism and how it's crucial to achieving a balanced and sustainable eating approach. When we experience stress, our body releases cortisol, and stress can look like not eating balanced. Stress can look like skipping a meal or fasting, right? Those type of things stress the body out. It's not just always external stressors necessarily, but we also have internal stressors. Some of us internalize our stress in general. This affects cortisol. And this hormone has such a significant impact on our metabolism. And high levels of cortisol can really slow down our metabolism, like I talked about before. And it makes us harder to really maintain a healthy weight. Chronic stress in itself can really lead to overeating and cravings for unhealthy foods, further exacerbating just the negative effects on our metabolism. So by managing stress through strategies such as mindfulness, exercise, adequate sleep, I'm definitely adding more into the recharge lounge, because I want that to be a place of safety for you. When you even click the recharge button, I want your body to just de-stress in general. So I am working on that to make it just really something that you come to, step away from social media, life, loud kids, loud dogs, all the things that you have to do and where you're superwoman cape for. I want that to really be a space for you, as well as this entire app. So when we're doing those things, we can really help support a healthy metabolism and manage overall stress and balanced eating. It really just helps us as busy women to improve our health. So one key strategy for managing stress is to prioritize self-care, such as activities, exercise, meditation, deep breathing exercises. Meditation's not for everybody. This is why I created, and I'm adding so much more audio into the app, because I love the idea of embodiments, the idea of just coming back to yourself and just giving yourself a pep talk. And that's what that really is, and really reminding yourself of who you are. That in itself can help with stress, right? Because meditation is not for everybody. It is so hard for me to meditate with all the things going on in my life. I would have to wake up at probably 4 a.m. to even get that in. And I just don't want to do that all the time. So I want you to find something that feels good for you, that fits. And I really do want this app and the Recharge Lounge to be a place for that for you. And obviously, when we find our thing, whether it's singing in the shower, singing on the way home in the car, whether it's taking that walk and, just getting grounded, whether it's putting our feet on the earth, find your thing, right? Is it art? Is it writing? Is it journaling? Is it just listening to calm music? Is it taking a bubble bath? Find your thing, right? And we want to implement this often. But because we have life, right? We have things that help us adapt. And so inside this protocol, I'll definitely include one of my favorite cortisol calming adaptogen blends, because that is something that I utilize on a weekly basis to really help my body manage stress and respond differently and create an environment for healing and a healthy metabolism. Additionally, just being mindful, being present can also alleviate stress, and just, putting our phone down sometimes. I know we have this app and it's awesome, but putting our phone down and getting that blue light out of the way before bed is so, so helpful in having that deep REM sleep. So it's definitely something to just keep in mind. Secondly, we talked about protein and how important it is, and optimizing your digestion. And digestion and quality is so key, because we set ourselves up. I feel like everyone should be on a quality digestive enzyme, and eating in a calm state and balancing meals. Just remember, when you sit down, not to scarf your meals down. If you have to eat on the go, like, try to pull over and eat on the go, or just eat slower. I know we all have different obligations, right? But just being mindful of the activity around us eating really helps digestion in a way that you won't notice until you start to do it. It will help decrease bloating, just burping, just feeling full, feeling like the food is stuck. So, and that's why I also carry enzymes with me everywhere. When you travel, it can be your best friend. And I also talk about eating in a special order in order to help with just prolonged energy. And there's so much research behind that. And I'll drop that in the protocol as well, and also building muscle and moving. So we want to know that sitting is the new smoking, and we have got to get up. We have got to move. We've got to keep that lymph system. We've got to keep our cells, all that toxic waste. It needs a place to go, and movement is the key for that. Sweat, peeing, pooping is the key. So use the app to help you get new movements in, or keep it simple with just adding walking into your daily routine, whatever works for you. So I want you to check out that keep the calming cortisol protocol that I'm going to drop here, and the resources for this. And then you can also find it within the remedies and bundles too, within the app and the wellness clinic. And so I'm so excited that you were able to come here today. I want you to continue to lean into the tribe and watch that Foundations Masterclass. If you're just like, where do I start? Watch the Foundations Masterclass. Do the 7-day hormone habit training. Just really lean in, dial in strong into this community and this tribe, because I really do create these resources based off of my clinical experience, my personal experience, and what I see is in the medical world as a missing gap. And we're trying to fill that gap here. So thank you so much for being here for this masterclass, and I can't wait to see you next month.